Okay. We have a minute. And we'll start. Okay. I'm not so powerful today. The reason why I'm giving this class, really, I gotta tell you, Baruch Hashem, I was not raised in a German home, and I started learning Torah in my 40s. I started hearing these great speakers who you get to hear all the time. You know, Rabbi Eden, Rabbi Dubov, and here, yeah, unbelievable. Rabbi Rav Gov, Yom Tov Glazer, who's not here, but just was speaking here for a long time. And I was blown away, and I started wanting to give talks myself. And so I started speaking and writing classes, and God puts a lot of things in my head about ideas and concepts. And this is why I write so many classes and books and things like this. But I started watching speakers, and I started writing down what things I thought they did great and what things they didn't do so well. And that's what this class is about. It's called 3 Steps to Powerful Public Speaking. We're put it into 3 different parts. Number 1 is called presentation. Number 2 is called content. And number 3 is called personal connection. If you want the acronym, it's PCP. If you get that, right? The first thing I want to tell you is that this class is not for you to become a good speaker, not a great speaker, but an awesome speaker. I'm not teaching you to become some average rabbi speaker. I'm teaching you to be someone who can make a change in the world, right? And how do we do that? Well, the first thing you're going to do, the piece of advice I'm going to give you, you should never turn down any opportunity to speak. Never turn it down. You should always have it prepared for you through, like, when you go, Friday nights to Aish, whatever you're going to be for Shabbat dinner, and the host, hey, do you have a Devar Torah? You should always have something in your back pocket. Because the only way that you're going to become a good speaker, I hate to say this, it's not hard, this is not, brain surgery, is to keep doing it. The reason why the Aish speakers are so good, you know why? Because they do it all the time. Rav Gavro Friedman says it himself, I would not be the speaker I am today if I didn't have essentials. And this is one of the reasons why when I came here 7 years ago from America, moved to Jerusalem 7 years ago, I walked into here and I asked Rabbi Schwartz, who ran the program, can I speak at essentials? And I got on, I haven't gotten off. And I'm not going to get off. I'm going to be teaching here for, God willing, another 59 more years. My 120th birthday, you bring me cards, say have a nice day, right? So my point is, the only reason I've gotten better, and I'm much better now than I was 7 years ago. And I was pretty good 7 years ago. I wasn't, but I've gotten much better because I keep doing it and I keep doing it. So presentation, 2 parts. Vocal image, visual image. Vocal image is the things that your audience hears. This is injecting emotion into your words, which means no one likes a monotone voice. It's called flat affect. A flat affect is an observable absence of emotional expression, lack of face gestures, and vocal intonations. And if you want to get someone emotional, because people don't remember what you told them, they're going to remember how you made them feel. This is what great speakers do. They create an emotional connection with their audience. Because you can have a rabbi who stands up here and who knows everything. All of the shas, all the drushes, all the everything, right? And he talks in a monotone voice, you're going to fall asleep. And you can have someone here who speaks beautifully but doesn't have good stories, doesn't have good content. Okay, you'll enjoy it, you'll have a great time, but you're not going to learn anything, right? So here's a few different things. Emotional, you'll notice good speakers that they use, we're going to get into the visual image, so let me stay on vocal image. Number 1 key, speak to the back of the room. So when I am speaking to a class, if I have a large audience, which on Shavuos night, when I spoke to 400 people last year, I didn't do it this year because of my health issues. I just didn't feel like I had the power to do it. But when I'm speaking to 400 people in a room, I pretend I'm Tom Brady. And what am I doing? I'm throwing a bomb to Randy Moss. And he's casting a bomb 80 yards down the road. My voice, as if you know physics, I guess this is physics, your voice is going to fall apart as it travels. So in order to make sure that every single person can hear your words, you have to pretend you're speaking to the last person in that room. Right now I have an issue because I have tube in my lung, whole story, I'm not going into it. Anyway, speak to the back of it and over-articulate and enunciate your words. Especially when you're starting off, over-articulate your words. They do fall apart as they travel. I try to sometimes, even today in class, when you're in my class today, there was some noise that came from the kotel when I said something, and I went ahead and repeated it, because you might have lost those words. I don't want you to lose my words when I'm speaking. Don't be scared of the pause. The pause helps people process. You know your material as a speaker. God willing, you know your material. And by the way, the more you know your material, by the way, 4 weeks from now, we're going to do a class called How to Build a Class. When you know your material so well, you can then do a lot of going off topic, bringing in news stories from the day, talking to the audience, bringing in different things, different ideas when you know your material. Now, you know your material, but you don't know my material, right? So when I'm speaking to you, you have to, you need to process it. The pause accentuates happiness, sadness, inspiration. It's almost like when classical music builds up, right? And it stops. It goes quiet. There's a pause there for you to internalize what you just heard. Get my point? And sometimes I just paused. It gives you a second to think about what I'm about to say, right? The pause is good sometimes. Don't be afraid of the pause. And here's a very important point. You have to learn to change your volume and cadence. There's a speaker, his name is, what's his name? The White Shul in Five Towns. What's the White Shul? Feiner, Eitan Feiner. He's a big rabbi in New York. He speaks like this. He'll speak like this for 25 minutes. Very, very high cadence, like high voice. And after a while, I'm like, ugh. He's a great speaker. He's brilliant. He knows everything. He's a genius. But again, I'm not making you a good speaker. I'm making you into a great speaker. And sometimes changing your volume and cadence changes the momentum of the room. Let me give you an example. I was walking down Jaffa Street today, and I walked into a coffee shop, and I walked up to the woman behind the counter, and I said to her, I want a cappuccino. She said to me, I need your credit card. Now, did I just make that seem really important? All I did was order a coffee. Because I changed my volume and cadence, I made something that seemed much more important. I haven't done this in a while because since I've been teaching all the time, Baruch Hashem, when I first started teaching here, I made sure, like in my classes in certain ways, to engage the audience. And sometimes when I have a room full of people and I slow down, I tell them, the greatest transformation you're making in your life is going to be when you believe in yourself as much as God believes in you. And you hear the class go like this, sucking into me because they can't hear my words. I'm getting quieter and quieter, but they want to hear that. That's when you really have your audience in the palm of your hands. So a good speaker, there's two things. We're doing vocal image now. Vocal image is emotion to your words. Vocal image is also changing your volume and cadence. And vocal image is also bringing emotion and also using the pause and slowing down, changing cadence and volume. Am I making myself clear? Any questions? No? Good so far? Okay. There's a lot of information here. We're going to try to get it done today. Because we have a lot of class. Next week we're doing power of persuasion. Then the following week we're doing a class called From the Western Wall to Wall Street, How to Build Organizations for Success, both public and nonprofit. And then the last class is How to Build a Class. Now let's have a visual image. And this is what everyone sees. And it's very important that when I come to a class, when I leave my house, I always make sure that I need to get some new white shirts, but I make sure that my shirt's clean. You'll notice when I have lunch at 12:30 downstairs in the cafeteria, before I speak at 1 o'clock, I go to the sink and I rinse my mouth out. Because I don't want to have food in my teeth, I don't want my tie off backwards. I try to look like a mensch when I'm speaking. Because everything can be a distraction. People won't take you seriously, right? Visual image, hands, I was talking about, I brought them too early. You'll notice that almost every popular speaker, especially in the Jewish world, even the non-Jewish world, they're not 5'2" with little hands. They're 6'2" with big hands. What is Rav Gov? 6 foot something, right? Big hands. Charlie Harari, big hands. Rabbi Yid, big hands. I mean, I can go through all of them. Every good big speaker, they all big, and they use their hands. Generally, I use my hands in my talks. I use because it creates emotion. No teddy bears. What's a teddy bear? A teddy bear is when, and it's okay, I'm not against it. A teddy bear is when you have something like a pen and you use it because you're uncomfortable. And it's okay. I remember the first time that I spoke in my life, it was 2000, 7 or 8, we just got involved with a shul in Maryland, and the rabbi asked me to give it to our Torah. I remember I stood up there in the front, between the Torah portions, going like this. And the me going back and forth was what I mean teddy bear. What's a teddy bear? It's there for comfort. And you can use one if you want, just recognize you have a teddy bear. Sometimes it can be your pen, it can be your glasses, right? Some people want to have a cigarette or a drink, whatever. It's I remember when I was speaking with one of my students, Brandon Fisher. Did you know Brandon? Yeah. We went to we did an event at Beer Bazaar. Beer Bazaar had a room. Those were great. Yeah. And he the whole time he was going like this. He was speaking like this. I said, Brandon, you have a teddy bear. He didn't realize he was doing this because he was nervous. It's fine to be nervous, okay. But that was an awkward one. Better have a pen than do that, right? But you want to get to the point where you don't need teddy bears.
So it's like a take a crutch or prop?
It's a prop. It's okay to have it. It's okay. I'm not against it. You eventually will not grow that. Okay. I saw a movie a few years ago on the plane. Elvis Presley. Elvis Presley, you guys heard of him, right? What made him so famous? Huh?
His hips.
Before the acting. What made him a superstar? What made the women crazy over him?
His look and his hips.
His singing was very good. But it wasn't that great. It was his leg shake. I'm watching this movie, and he'd sing, and then he started doing like this. And the woman started going crazy. I was in the movie. And I said this to rabbis who will work with me and help get better at speaking. I go, what's your shtick? What are you talking about? I go, you have to have shtick. You have to have something that stands you out from everyone. Every rabbi is a great speaker. You go back to your communities, you have rabbis who are great speakers. But the ones who want to stand out and become famous or whatever, what makes them different to everybody else? You got to have something that's a shtick. For me, I have unique ideas. Also have a lot of raps that I write in my classes, and also we're going to get to some other ideas that I do that maybe you're not going to do. It's fine. Whatever you do, visual image. Whatever you do, make the smile bigger, the face funnier, the impersonation wilder, or the dance untamed. Whatever you do, you have to do much crazier than what you do. Because what happens is, you stand in front of the audience, whatever movement you're doing in front of the audience falls apart as it travels, and also, you have to overact. Today in class I did compliment, don't criticize, right? I didn't do a great job. I don't have the energy, right? But I it's one of my favorites. I do all the time in class. But I have a lot of new raps, by the way. In fact, I'm doing a class next week. I wrote 2 raps when I started the chemotherapy. I wanted to write something different. So I wrote 2 raps. One called the Froom Girl Single Rap, and the other called the Mount Sinai Rap. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to print them out next week, and the class is going to be called in Essentials, Coach Ratner the Rapper. And we're going to go through the raps because there's a lot of Torah in these raps that you're going to miss when you hear it because it goes so fast.
You should be Coach Ratner.
Well, someone said Coach Rapper, but I think I'm going to call it Coach Ratner the Rapper just for one class next week. And I'm constantly writing raps and ideas, and I have a lot of zingers. We're going to get into this when we get into my writing class, because my classes I think are pretty unique. Maybe I'm wrong, but you've been in them. They are unique. We're going to learn why. Things not to say. What should we learn together? I can't stand when rabbis say that. Why? Because you act like you're not in charge, and they will not take you seriously. That's one thing. You have to teach what you're going to teach. Next thing, it bothers me. Don't tell me how I'm going to feel. This is my pet peeve. Maybe it doesn't bother you. When rabbis say, oh, this is really funny, I have a great inspirational story to tell you. Don't tell me how I'm going to feel, because what's happening is you're setting the bar, and if you don't meet that bar, I'm going to be disappointed. Don't tell me anything. I don't tell you you're going to like this rap. I don't say to you this is a great story. I tell the story. If it's great, you'll get inspiration from it. If it's not great, you won't get inspiration for it. But once I set the bar, you've now made a bar that you have to go over. Do you get my point?
Even saying something that you personally connect to, like, I find the story very...
No, I would not say that. I can't stand it. You're lowering yourself as a speaker, in my opinion. You tell the story. You have a true story. You can say, I have a true story when I tell you, and you tell the story and let them decide. Don't tell me how I'm going to feel. I don't want you to tell me how I'm going to feel, personally. Again, you can disagree with me. This is my opinion. Because once you set that bar, you guys can understand what I'm saying? Once you set that bar, now you have to cross that bar. And if it's not so inspirational, they're going to be disappointed.
You're saying why create an expectation when you don't need to.
Yeah, it's
you.
like someone saying that it's the best film ever when they.
And it feels manipulative too. It's like you're framing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's gonna be- Last thing that bothered me, I was sitting in this room a number of years ago, and a rabbi was speaking from 2 to 3 o'clock. It was guest rabbi. He sat right here. And it was he started at 2 o'clock, and it was 3:05, 3:06, 3:07. And he says, "Oh, do you want me to keep going?" "No, Rabbi, we're sick of you. Can you please stop?" How do you ask that question? It bugs me that this clock's not working. It bugs me. The clock doesn't work. I should not have to look at my clock, my watch, no, I don't have a watch anymore, to my phone to see the time. I tell the essentials, the clock's not working back there. Every room should have a clock, because what happens when you see, Ken Spear does this all the time, it's distraction, right? Clock back there, I shouldn't have to look at the time. And I do not want to, what time do you go till? 2:45 or 3 today?
Right.
I do not want to, I will not steal your time. You will see me in the essentials class. If I'm finished, I'm like, okay, class is over with. If you want to stay 5 minutes, you can, but you guys can leave now. I am not going to steal your time. These are things that bother me. All right. Distractions you can't control. These are things that happen in the classrooms. A baby crying. My representative always says, babies are just like great ideas. They should both be carried out.
Yeah.
Or cell phone rings. Tell my mom I'll call her back. Things that keep the thing flowing so it doesn't interrupt you. If you assume if someone's on their phone, they're just writing down notes. You have to answer questions. When I first started teaching here, I'd get these hard questions and I was not prepared for it, and I just blew them off. It's not very good when you blow people off. So I will say to them, hey, that's a great question. The problem is it's going to get me off topic. Let me answer you after class, and then you run out of the room and leave. No, I'm just kidding. Well, maybe I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
But you're going to always have these people in the class that are like off. People that are off, ask kind of weird questions, and you have to be careful. I have one woman who was asked a real question, and it wasn't a question. And sometimes, hold on a second, I have to say to the audience member, is there a question you want to ask? I'm not here to hear your story, because people, a lot of times, when they have a chance to speak in front of public, in front of a whole classroom, they don't want to be heard, right? They're not being heard at home. They're a single child, or they have 10 kids at home, they never get heard. So they want to hear it. And I have to say to them, is there a question you want to ask? Go ahead, you have a question.
Sometimes, this is a question. This is really preventative, but what happens sometimes, the dynamic kind of shifts where like everyone wants to ask a question.
Great class. That will end up being a great class.
But even if it's something that the whole structure of the class is in order to.
You know what? You have to play it by ear. When I was giving a Spire last week, I had a substitute for a class. I was giving a class on self-esteem, and we got this whole topic about the need for internal satisfaction without the desire for external validation, which means happiness comes within, not from getting it from likes and retweets and that kind of thing. And it got bogged down. And the class did get bogged down, but it was very good content, and I thought it was worth it to keep the class in that situation, and people were commenting, and it makes the class. Some of the best classes are the interactive ones. I'm being honest with you. And by the way, I'm going to mention this. If you ask questions in class, you'll see people ask questions, and I do sometimes. And sometimes I don't get answers. You know what I stopped doing? I stopped asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm asking a question in class, like today in class, what did I say today? I said something like, I don't remember what I was talking about, but I asked a question. And generally people answer if it's a crowded class.
You were sis.
Oh, you were sis, right? But I asked you specifically, asked someone else specifically, but if I asked the whole class a question, right? I might have said, does anyone read sis here? And someone said yes, but like, if no one answers questions, stop asking questions. It means the class is not engaging, because sometimes I remember I've taught at 9 a.m., I taught some J internship class at a party the night before, and they're all 19 years old, and they were drunk. They're just not going to be engaged in the class, right? You're going to lose. There's nothing you can do about that.
You ever say tough crowd?
Oh, sure, it happens all the time. Okay, content. Here, we're now moving from presentation to content. Presentation with vocal image, visual image, things not to say, how to control distractions. Content. It's very simple. Tell them what you're going to tell them. Tell it to them. And then tell them what you told them.
Tell them again. Tell them again. Tell them again.
Let them know what you're telling them. Tell them what you're going to tell them. Tell it to them, and tell them what you told them. 3 things. What is this class about? Then give the class. At the end of class, tell them what they learned. If you can't, and this is a very big thing with me, and this is why I think that you enjoy my classes. I'm really clear about what I'm talking about. Almost crystal clear. I mean, like I am talking, when I gave a class today on 10 Commandments of marriage, we discussed how to compare the 10 Commandments to marriage. That relationship with God is the same relationship with our spouse. We learn things from the 10 Commandments from Mount Sinai that we can learn in marriage. Do they all, mix well? No, they don't. But it's a good class, right? You get my point? Mm-hmm. I'm clear about what I'm talking about. And you'll sit in front of a class, in front of a rabbi, all the time, and you have no idea what the class is about. Am I the only one that hears this, that knows this, that goes and sits in the class, and what is he talking about? I have no idea. What are we trying to learn today? If you can't clarify in a few words, how's your audience going to understand what you're talking about? And this is the point. What's the shot of my class today? Is it to make passionate relationships? Is that cure self-esteem? Is it make yourself happier? Is it understand the difference between your body, your ego, and your soul? I am clear about what I'm talking about. Am I always so clear? I'm sure I'm not. I do my best. I do my best to make it clear what are we talking about today? How to become not a good speaker, not a great speaker, but an awesome speaker. You get my point? I'm telling you what we're going to tell you. What, go ahead.
I want to quickly get it.
Yeah.
So you say what you will talk about, then talk about it, and then tell them what you spoke. And then
a good speaker, yes. So tell them what you're going to tell them. Tell it to them. Mm-hmm. And at the end, tell them what you told them.
Intro, body, conclusion.
Yeah.
And then
I don't always do this. Since you know, since I've been speaking all the time, I don't always repeat my classes like I should. Mm-hmm. Like today, I didn't do it. Today, I should have gone through all 10 Commandments. I just didn't have energy.
There's no time also.
Right.
Another thing, you said that from before, you said that answering questions makes it interactive. So you should be answering questions, right?
If you're asking questions and the audience is engaging with you, it makes for a really good class. Because it means the audience is engaged with you. Now, obviously, you have one person taking over the class. You have to be careful because their ideas can, you have to mm-hmm. say in a way, hey, listen, I want to stay. What I'll sometimes say is, I'm going to stay focused on my content. If I keep answering questions, we're going to get off topic. Let's stay on topic. And I do. I've gotten off topic. I used to get off topic all the time. And the guys with ADHD loved me. They loved me because I used to go off topic all the time. And I was one of my students, his name is different Brandon, got me on track. He goes, you've got to stay more focused on your topics and stay on your subject. I pretty much stay on my subject. Okay, get to the point. Don't get stuck in the weeds. If your story gets too long, just like we talked about in relationships, or take it to the main point, people lose interest and drift out. Always be tightening up your talks. Last night, I went through this. I haven't gone through this in a number of months, and I tightened up some ideas in this class. I'm always changing my classes. I don't leave them. Not like I read a class once and leave it. I'm always tightening things up. And this is why writing is such an essential part of speaking. Because when you write, it clarifies your ideas. Because when you're writing something, they're not hearing you. And you have to write in this way that people can understand your point of view. And this is why I think writing has helped my speaking, personally. That's what I think. Keep them on edge. Use comments. Now listen, this is me. This doesn't have to be you. I live on the edge. If you've been in my classes, you know I'm on the edge, right? I get out there. I say things that maybe, listen, if I'm in a seminary, I'm not going to say the word boob, right? But if I'm in a mixed class, I might do it. Like, it depends on my audience, right? I'm on the edge. And I say things, you think of the rest. Like, for example, I talk about making love into a game. Right? Love into a game. Love is not a noun. Love is an action word. It's not I love you, because I love you means absolutely nothing. That's a noun. I am in the constant act of loving you. And we like to play games. You make love into a game you're going to play. But instead of playing Monopoly, play monogamy. Instead of playing Risk, play Risque. And instead of playing Connect Four, play Connect Foreplay. Or just play poker and go all in. Now, I'm not taking you there, but you can take yourself lots of different places with the poker thing. You get my point? I'm not taking you there. You're taking you there. Now, maybe that's not for certain seminaries and yeshivas, but like that's how I speak. I keep you on edge. And the reason why I keep you on edge, right? You keep coming back because you want to hear more of it. And you don't fall asleep in my classes because you don't know what's going to come out of my mouth next. Okay, this is Coach Ratner speak, right? I also do a lot of raps. I have a lot of zingers. I mean, I have tons of zingers. I mean, I have a whole. We did a few in the class today. My favorite new one I made up in November when I was flying to LL. We talked about, it's my dating class. We talk about just because you like splitting up our Cabernet doesn't mean you should split your DNA. Right? I have a lot of zingers like that come across. And the one that did with respect. In a relationship when respect goes unchecked, your marriage may be a wreck, and in retrospect, it was cause and effect, and you may be the suspect. That keeps people awake and alert in your classes. My wife says I'm Dr. Seuss for adults. I don't care, right? It makes the classes very engaging and a lot of fun. There's tons you can make up. This is all I do all day long. And when we get into my class writing, we're going to talk about acronyms, mnemonics, different ways to build classes. And it's not just for the audience; it's for me. Like today, we did in my women's class today. I did 4 steps to prayer, and I have a whole acronym. It's a whole class. I can make a whole class. It's called repeat. I have 5 letters, 6 letters, whatever, 6 letters. I can do a whole class on it. And because I have this in my head, it triggers things in my brain that I can just teach based on what other things I've taught. And that's how I literally, I swear, if I started teaching about relationships right now, I could sit here for 6 hours and talk. I really think I could. Maybe it's 5 hours, whatever, 4 hours. A long time. Because everything's going to trigger something else. Stories, ideas, concepts, right? Keep them on edge. Make it personal. People like to hear personal stories about you. You know, when you tell stories that are personal, people connect to you. When you tell stories that have to do with their life, and when I talk about sitting on the highway, I always say the 401, I always say the 405, the LIE, and the 95, right? Because someone's going to connect to one of those 3 highways. It connects to them, right? If I'm in a city, I'm going to use the sports team, yes.
Often if you say the word I or we, they think you're a bit insecure, you're making about yourself. Sometimes it's very confident of you if you don't bring yourself into it. What is it?
Well, I mean, I don't want to. I try not to brag or show off. Sure. Yeah. But in my parenting class, which by the way is unbelievable. It's really killer. I think it's an amazing class. I think that I tell stories with my kids, and if you know my kids, let me tell you something. That makes a huge impact because you've met them before. It makes a huge impact. So making stories out of traffic, flying, dating, living in Israel, all these people can connect to. Make it sticky, know your material. It's okay to use notes as long as you don't live off them. I have notes. I haven't given this class in many months. So I have notes, but you see I'm not really relying on them. I use them to go move forward. But and we're going to get into this when we talk about building a class, but I try to make things sticky and use acronyms and things that I can remember. Like I said, when I originally gave this class, it was like 25 steps to be a public speaker. And one of my students said, you need to make it into 25 is too much. So I made the 3, presentation, content, and personal connection. So it's 3 ideas, but all built into 25 miniature thoughts. And you have to know things in your class. Certain things when you're teaching, the better you know something, the more it's going to connect to your audience. So I talk about a lot of times, like one of the things I sometimes create in class, like, you think in your job in high school is get good grades so you can get a good college, get a good college, make a lot of money, and get married and live in a white picket fence with 3-bedroom house, 2-car garage, 1.9 kids, a Labradoodle, and retire in South Florida and chase a little small ball into a few holes as possible. I say these things. I'm not saying very good now today. I'm not so healthy today. But when you say things like that, people can connect to when you know something very well. So knowing your content is and I like when I do my raps. I'll wake up on Saturday morning. I was on my porch at 5:30 in the morning, doing my raps in my head, so I get them down. Because the only way you learn things is by repeating them, right? Okay, personal connection. Here's the most important thing in this class. We did content, we did presentation, content, personal connection. If you don't get to their heart, they're not going to change. Rabbi Yisrael Salanter said the longest distance in the world between a person's brain and their heart. If you don't make an emotional change in someone's heart, nothing's going to happen. It's great that you go to classes and they're funny and they're engaging. But if you don't make an emotional change in someone, you can say 1 + 1 is 2, which equals God. Whatever they say, that means God. There's a God. Again, intellectually, they know it's true. But if they don't know it emotionally, no changes are going to happen. It's all done through emotions. People won't remember what you told them, but they're going to remember how you made them feel. This is the most important thing you need to learn in this class. People don't remember what you told them, they remember how you made them feel. Someone can believe something is intellectually true, but unless they find a way to internalize it and bring it into their heart and know with complete clarity, it's not going to affect their actions. You know, I didn't change my life and start keeping Shabbos because I read, in a parsha that, God said to keep Shabbos. Oh, God said I must keep Shabbos. I must keep Shabbos. That wasn't that. It was probably going to a Friday night at my rabbi's house and singing songs, and telling jokes and hearing Devar Torahs. It wasn't the Torah that did it. It was the interaction, it was the experience from living the life of a Torah Jew. And that's done through emotional connections. Connect to your audience. One of the things I did first time I spoke at Aish was 2015 at Aish Partners Conference in Connecticut. And that was like that's how I came through the whole system. And I finally said to my rabbi, is there any way I could speak there? They had these breakout sessions. And I got a spot. I don't know how I got it. I got it. And in 2015, I went there and I went to my class. Of course, I'm competing against, people, big rabbis. So not in a lot. I think 15, 20 people in my class. I made sure to sit down with a group of 4 ladies in the front of the room before my class and start talking to them and ask them their names. You know what happened? I lowered my bar for being a good speaker. Do you know why? Because when I talk to one of those ladies and she has 3 friends, they all think to themselves, oh, the speaker's talking to my friend. They suddenly like me, no matter how bad I'm going to do. I lowered my bar, right? Just like I asked you the time. I sometimes ask people for their watches. It makes a connection. And I have this somewhere. Hold on a second. Where's the thing with Benjamin Franklin? I'm missing something. There's a whole thing that Benjamin Franklin did that he
Small favors.
Small favors for people made them into their fans, right? Called the Benjamin Franklin effect. Is that in this class? Hold on a second.
He asked for small favors?
No, he would.
He asked people to do the things for him so they would be doing a small favor. And then they would feel like they're needed in his life. So they appreciate it.
It's in my persuasion class next week.
It lowers his status.
It's in my persuasion class next week. It's not in this class. So yeah, the Benjamin Franklin effect, that he would do favors for people or get them to do favors for him. And we're going to talk about this in persuasion. It's a very big thing, is making people part of the solution, not the problem. Eye contact, so important. Let me tell you something. I've been to speakers, and this bothered me when, a room full of 100 people, 15 on this side, 15 on this side, and the speaker stands on one side and doesn't pay attention to the other room. I try to look at everyone's in the eyes. Have you noticed this?
Yeah.
Man, I always try to look at everyone in the eyes. If I can. A classroom like this is not so hard. But obviously, a big classroom, it's a lot more difficult. But I try to make eye contact with people. Eye contact makes you feel confident, even if you're not. Make sure you speak to both sides of the room. And when you speak to someone, because teaching is reaching, not preaching, right? So when you look at someone in their eyes, it's like you're connecting to them. It's very important. Signal the end. Make sure your signal end is coming. Quick review and one final story, if you have a story. And lastly, really, you have to believe in yourself, because you have the chance to change the world. You don't think so when you start speaking for the first time. Like, how am I going to change the world? But you do. Your words affect people's hearts. And how you speak to them affects their emotions. And when you affect their emotions, you can affect, like if I'm giving a class, I have a purpose for the class. Whether it's to believe in God, whether it's to connect to God, whether it's to learn how to pray, whether it's to have a better relationship, whether it's to have better self-esteem, whatever it is, I have a certain goal of my class. And I make sure to state that goal at the beginning of my class. And this class was based on 3 steps to powerful public speaking, right? And listen, if you don't want to be average, you need to be a savage. It takes a lot of work. I put a lot of work into this thing. I mean, like, it's not like I come here and like, I just make up a class. I've worked years on these classes, and I've been building up. And I've had this year 2 new classes. Or the last 6 months, 3 new classes probably. I have bohu, tofu, Sudoku. Let's do the creation. It's about, I compare Sudoku to tofu, right? Because tofu tastes like anything, that's a new class. I've only given it once. I wrote a class called 5 Dates to Meet Your Mate. Very popular. I'm giving it tomorrow. I go through 5 dates, what to talk about, what not to talk about, defining terms like red flags, green flags in chemistry, and it's becoming a book. The book's being written right now. I have another class called From Swipe Right to Wedding Night, How to Make Yourself Irresistibly Marriageable. That's a new class. That was written about 6 to 8 months ago. So I'm always coming with new classes. Some classes don't get put in the rotation because I don't, my class, Body Soap Pokeball, I made up 2 years ago for Shavuos night. And it just rhymed. I wanted to do a class because when I get my ideas from classes from teaching. So I was teaching a guy many years ago, and he didn't believe we have a body and a soul. He believed we get buried, that's it. So how do you convince someone we have a body, an ego, and a soul? So I came to the class, and then when Rabbi Schwartz asked me for a class for Shavuos 2 years ago, I said, came out of the blue, Body Soap Pokeball. You know what Pokeball is?
I literally just had one last night.
Right. So I compare the body and ego of the soul to the rice, vegetables, fish, salt, salmon. I compare it. I gave the class, it was okay. I didn't do it for a few more months. I gave it last week to Aspire. They loved it. I put it away and come back to it, and I update it and make it a little tighter. That's what I do with my classes. It's very memorable when you hear a class called Body, Soul, or Pokeball. You have no idea what it's about. When you get into class, it's a very good class, right? We're going to learn how to do these things. But really, today's class is about presentation, content, personal connection. It's not PCP the drug, right? We want someone to be on natural drugs, the high of having a relationship with Hashem. And we do that by changing their emotions, and we do that by speaking to them in a way, understand, keeping them on edge, and you too can become a powerful public speaker through the 3 steps. Thank you very much.
Oh, it's always a blessing. Thank you.